Hey guys, and welcome back to another episode of monotype teams for every game. I asked you guys to vote what typing you wanted to see next on the normal types vid, and you guys came through with the water types. I'm actually surprised the water typing showed up so soon. I was expecting the dark type or something. The water type though, takes up around 16% of the entire Pokedex. That's a pretty big chunk. So you can only imagine what these teams will be like, as there will be quite a few choices to pick from. Before we hop into these teams though, let me give you guys the rundown of how these teams work. There will be teams for pretty much every single game grouping by a regional basis. Fire Red and Leaf Green will represent Kanto. Platinum will represent Sinnoh. Heart Gold and Soul Silver, Johto. Black and White 2 will be their own separate things. X and Y, Kalos, Oras, Hoenn, Sun and Moon and Ultra Sun and Moon, Alola, Sword and Shield, Galar, and then Legends Arceus. These teams should still work for Red, Blue, Yellow, Gold, Silver, Crystal, Ruby, Sapphire, and Emerald, and Diamond and Pearl and the remakes. So pretty much every single game will be covered. There will also be no version exclusive Pokemon, no trade evos, no egg moves, etc. All the Pokemon featured on these teams are also available pre-post game. On occasion in this vid, I may provide locations, as well as to get certain Pokemon. But I will not be telling you guys what each mon does well against, nor suggesting movesets. There will be move suggestions, just not full-blown movesets for each Pokemon. If I did all that, this video would go on for a pretty long time. You guys, however, are more than welcome to suggest movesets in the comment section below. One more thing before I start, I just wanted to say I'll be taking a temporary break from uploading to Mystic Umbreon Shorts and Reads until the weekend of April 7th. And I'll be only uploading twice a week here on Mystic Umbreon, and on the weekend of the 31st to the 2nd. After that, uploads will resume to 3 times a week. Also, I asked you guys on a community post what typing you'd like to see for this series next. That way I could get further ahead for this break. From what I saw, the bug types won, so expect that for next time. Anywho though, sorry for the long intro, I just didn't want to make an entire video dedicated to this break. But with that, let's begin now. Starting off, let's get into Kanto. Blastoise, Tentacruel/Gyarados, Lapras, Vaporeon, Amistar, and then Starmie/Poliwrath. Blastoise is obviously your starter Pokemon, and is going to carry you through the entire game pretty much. Blastoise is also a very balanced Pokemon. Next, there's the option of either Tentacruel for Red, Blue, and Yellow, and Fire Red and Leaf Green. The special stat in Gen 1 is fantastic for Tentacruel. And for Fire Red and Leaf Green, Tentacruel still has a nice special attack stat of base 80. Gyarados can be used for Fire Red and Leaf Green, but I don't like it as much as I do in other gens, due to the physical special split, but either option works. For Let's Go, Gyarados will shred though. Next is Lapras, and be prepared to hear about Lapras quite a bit. What I love about Lapras, especially in the earlier gens, is that it gets Ice Beam via level up, meaning you don't have to use a TM for it. I've praised Lapras a lot on my channel before in the past, and to this day, I still do. Great bulky water type for the earlier generations. Fourth is Vaporeon, which according to a lot of people, is excellent for breeding. It's definitely one of the best available water types to use in Kanto, despite it not having a not so great move pool. Still, it's pretty bulky. Fifth is Amistar. I usually don't advocate for using the Kanto Fossilmons, but in this case, I think it works. 115 special attack is deadly, and it still gets access to some rock type attacks. It sucks it doesn't get Shell Smash this gen, but it is what it is. Lastly is Poliwrath, and the reason why is because Starmie is version exclusive for Fire Red and Leaf Green. However, if you are playing Red and Blue or the Let's Go games, you can totally use Starmie. Starmie is incredibly versatile and hits super hard while maintaining great speed. I wish that the Kanto games had less version exclusives, but this is what we have to deal with. Golduck is also version exclusive, by the way. That's why you see Amistar. Now let's hop into Sinnoh. And I do apologize to Diamond and Pearl and BDSP fans. Platinum is still the superior game. I've got news for you though. This team will work for all the Sinnoh games, including the remakes. So good for you. Empoleon, Gyarados, Floatzel/Azumarill, Quagsire, Octillery, and Tentacruel. Empoleon is obviously going to be your starter. The unique typing of Water and Steel, aided with a nice 111 special attack stat, will surely help you along your journey. Next is Gyarados, and you're going to be hearing about this Pokemon a lot on this video. Gyarados is and always will be one of the best water types to use in every game it's available in. access to Intimidate, Dragon Dance, Ice Fang, a base attack stat of 125, and now having access to physical water moves? There's a reason why this thing is one of the best water types in existence. Up third is Floatzel, and it's actually pretty good. It's got 105 base physical attack, 115 base speed, and an overall decent move pool. Now, Azumarill can also be an option, but I dislike Floatzel more for Sinnoh. Azumarill will be used later on though, trust me. Quagsire is fourth, or you can use Gastrodon. I like them both equally, and you really can't go wrong with either one of them. The water ground typing is amazing regardless. Lastly, we have Octillery and Tentacruel. Octillery is fun due to the vast move pool it has and incredible special attack stat of 105. Tentacruel is here to balance the team with its special bulk and its great speed with alright special attack. For what it's worth, I think the team is pretty balanced and should help pretty well in Sinnoh, especially with Gyarados and how early you can get it. Hopping into the best region of the series, we got Heart Gold and Soul Silver, with the team of Feraligatr, Quagsire, Gyarados, Starmie, Lantern, and Lapras. Feraligatr can be argued for the best starter in the set of remakes. With great attacking power, this Gator will help you shred across Johto and Kanto. Plus now, it has access to physical water type attacks, making it much better than it was in Generation 2. Next is Quagsire, and what's cool about this is the early game availability. By level 20, you already have a great water ground type for the rest of the game. Quag is amazing in Heart Gold and Soul Silver. Third is Gyarados, and once again, level 20 is the magic level for Magikarp to evolve. I don't need to get into why this thing will probably be this team's MVP. And if you want a shiny one, Lake of Rage. Next is Starmie, which I will say, Staryu can be caught on the route below Goldenrod with a good rod. Despite Starmie not getting access to Psychic until Kanto, its massive attack, aided with the coverage of Thunder and Blizzard, still makes it a very solid mon to have. Next is Lantern. That dual typing of water electric will come in a lot of handy, let me tell you. Plus, it's got some nice bulk with the ability of Volt Absorb. Lastly is Lapras, and I've spoken about it already. The bulk, alongside Ice Beam being able to be learned via level up, is pretty amazing. We're now in Unova, and like usual with Black and White, we only have access to Unovan mons. Regardless, we actually still have some pretty good options. Samurott, Simipour, Seismitoad, Caracosta, Swanna, and Jellicent. Samurott is going to be your main attacking power. And what's cool about it is the fact it can be used as a mixed attacker. You got some coverage to pick from as well, so have fun with it. Next is Simipour, and some of you are probably gonna type out, you can't get it because of the elemental monkey you get in correspondence to your starter choice for the Striaton gym. You can actually capture a Panpour in the Pinwheel Forest though. Despite the flack the elemental monkeys get, in game wise, Simipour is pretty solid. It's the same as Samurott having the ability to be a mixed attacker. Plus it's got good speed at base 101. Third is Seismitoad, and this thing is great with that typing of water and ground. Ground types are always nifty to have, and Seismitoad is no different. This mon is gonna be your check to Elesa, and thank God you have it this time, because in Black and White 2, you won't have that same luxury. Fourth is Caracosta. It's here because we're limited on the water types we have access to, but it's actually pretty good. It's got Shell Smash, Aqua Jet, and some decent coverage. Shell Smash will for sure come in handy. Fifth is Swanna. Base 98 speed and 87 special attack is not bad, plus its flying type may come in handy at some point. I just wish you could get Ducklet for Berg because of his Leavanny. Lastly is Jellicent. Having the typing of water and ghost may come in clutch for you at some point along your journey. Plus, it's got nice defensive bulk. A tad earlier, I brought up Berg's Leavanny. This is kind of a problem, as none of the water types the player will have at this point in time will have the proper resources to take it down. I think the best course of action is to train Panpour to level 31 and go for acrobatics. You guys are in luck too, because you will have access to a water stone in Castelia City, meaning Panpour can evolve for the battle. Still, good luck with that one. Moving on, we got Black and White 2. Let me just say straight up, towards the beginning of the game, it's a little difficult. A lot of the water Pokemon available in these games are only accessible with Surf, so that means you're going to have a smaller team until you get access to that. Regardless, the water mons of choice for the second installment of Unova are Samurott returning, Azumarill/Floatzel, Vaporeon, Jellicent, Starmie, and Lapras. I hate that Gyarados isn't accessible here, because it would have helped drastically against Berg. I've already spoken about Samurott prior. Azumarill I mentioned for Sinnoh, but I like it more for Black and White too, due to Azurill being available earlier. Vaporeon I mentioned for Kanto, and I'm honestly glad it's back for Univip given its bulk. Now, we have two problems: Berg and Elesa. For Black and White 2, Berg now has a Swadloon and Leavanny. The good news is Dewott and Azumarill both have access to Blizzard, so it's not that bad. Elesa is gonna be the biggest pain in the ass though, especially being able to Volt Switch. By this point in time, the player should have the team of Dewott, Azumarill, and Eevee. Palpitoad cannot be accessed until Route 8, so your ground-type ace in the hole is ruined unfortunately. However, once again, we are saved, because all three Mons have access to Dig, and a Blizzard or two should be able to take out Emolga. It will still be a relatively hard fight, but if you are able to make it past this battle, the rest of the game should be fairly easy. The rest of the team are all accessible by Surf, and aren't around till Undella Town, but they're deadly nonetheless. Jellicent, Starmie, and Lapras. Jellicent I've spoken about. Starmie I've also spoken about. Lapras I've spoken about too, but I'm just gonna say it's gonna come in handy for Drayden, due to it being able to learn Ice Beam via level up. Now, due to Starmie being obtained much later in the game, a decent replacement could be Golduck. Psyduck can be found much earlier in the game at Flockacy Ranch. Golduck also may not have Stab Psychic, but it still has Psychic attacks. Psyduck may also be able to aid in taking on Berg with Blizzard as well. On to Kalos. We got Best Starter Greninja, Azumarill, Gyarados, Blastoise, Lantern, and Quagsire. Greninja is pretty obvious. Best starter for the games, and access to the Dark type makes it a deadly Mon despite it not having Protean. Plus, it's got a nice coverage pool. Azumarill is next, and with the addition of the Fairy type, it gets more usage than before. Although, I do miss Unlimited Weather. Marill evolves into Azumarill at level 18, and then it gets Aqua Tail at level 21. The downside is that in X and Y, it doesn't get Play Rough until level 50. Still, with huge power, it hits pretty hard. Third is Gyarados, and we already know why it's here. Fourth is Blastoise, or in X and Y's case, Mega Blastoise. Mega Blastoise comes equipped with a variety of moves to use with its awesome ability Mega Launcher. I'm pretty glad that Blastoise got some spotlight on this team, because it's a very underrated starter. Fifth, returning, is Lantern, which I've spoken about before. Last is Quagsire, and once again, I've spoken about it. The water ground typing is excellent. I have no doubt with this powerhouse of a team, X and Y should be no issue whatsoever. We now make our way to the 7.8 games out of 10 Too Much Water, Omega Ruby, and Alpha Sapphire. And how fitting, considering we are covering water type teams. The team consists of the amazing Swampert, Gyarados, Tentacruel, Starmie, and Lantern. Swampert is the best starter for Hoenn in-game wise. Having the amazing typing of water and ground, aided with a badass Mega, makes this thing dominate Hoenn left and right. I've already covered Gyarados, so we'll skip that. Azumarill I've covered as well, except this time, instead of getting Play Rough at level 50, Oras fixed that. So now, Azumarill gets it at level 25, which only helps its case even further. Tentacruel is fourth, and once again, I've put it here for a bit of defensive balance. I'm happy this time because it gets Sludge Bomb access earlier. Lastly, we have Starmie and Lantern. Starmie can get access to Psychic this time around before the Elite Four, but the TM for it is in Victory Road. Alternatively, the Psyshock TM is in Pacifilog, or you can wait until level 42 as a Staryu to get Psychic and wait to evolve it. That's up to you though. Lantern I've already spoken about, but I thought it would be a great way to wrap up the team for the last stretch of the game, especially being helpful against Glacia's Walrein. Just when you thought you couldn't get enough water, we move on to the Alolan Island chain. The team here consists of Primarina, Gyarados, Pelipper, Starmie, Lantern, and Whiscash. Primarina is an excellent choice of a starter, due to the great typing of Water Fairy. That typing, aided with its strong special attack alongside its coverage pool, will come in clutch for you. Gyarados, as usual, I've spoken about. Third is Pelipper. Now, here's what's cool about the Toilet Bird. It got pretty useful. As of Gen 7, it gets access to Drizzle. With this addition, the team's water attacks get even stronger. You love to see it. Plus, it gets Hurricane now. Pelipper is what's also going to help you against Totem Lurantis. Fourth is Whiscash, and the reasoning for this is that Gastrodon isn't available until the Pony Plains, which is much later in the game. So Whiscash was the only water ground type available. It may not be the greatest, but in my opinion, it's your best bet against Sophocles. Starmie I've also spoken about, and the same also applies to Lantern. I'll also point out that I think Golisopod is another excellent choice. Whatever mon you want to replace with that is up to you, but I personally like the team we already have. For Ultra Sun and Moon, the team is pretty much the same, so let's hop into Sword and Shield. For Galar, we got Inteleon, Gyarados, Pelipper, Barraskewda, Lantern, and Dracovish. Despite me not being a fan of Inteleon's design, I don't deny its power as a water type. Snipe Shot is a sick attack. Gyarados and Pelipper I've already explained, and the fact that there's also Drizzle means Barraskewda is gonna shred in this game even more. With 136 speed and 123 attack, Galar really stepped it up for the water types, and I love it. Lantern I've spoken about once again. Lastly is Dracovish, and if you've ever heard of the attack Vicious Rend, then you know why it's here. The crappy thing is that you don't have access to it until level 63. I know for a fact if I didn't bring up Dracovish at all, you guys would pretty much decimate me in the comments. However, I do understand that Vicious Rend is a very late game move to wait for. So if you want a replacement for it, Quagsire or Gastrodon can be good with that water ground typing. But that's a suggestion. You can really use anything you want, because the team already has plenty of power even without them. And for our last stop, let's travel back in time to Hisui, where we will be using Hisui and Samurott, Gyarados, Gastrodon, Empoleon, Tentacruel, and Manaphy. And yes, you heard that correctly. You can get Manaphy before the postgame. We'll get into that momentarily though. Hisui and Samurott is what you'd expect regular Samurott to be, only this time it's given the dual typing of water and dark. This thing is a deadly mixed attacker, and despite me giving flack to Samurott in the past, this video has helped it grow on me, so that's nice. I've already explained the rest of the mons on this team prior, aside from Manaphy. Manaphy is a mythical Pokemon with 100 base stats across the board. You can get it by doing the Seas Legend side quest. Manaphy doesn't need much of an explanation if you've ever played competitive Pokemon. But I'll just say one attack. Tail Glow. Wait, it doesn't get Tail Glow in Legends Arceus? Oh, Pokemon Database says it can't. So I guess you can't. That's kind of stupid. Oh well, you can still give it Calm Mind though. I will also leave a video in the description below from Austin John Plays on how to get Manaphy. This team as well, I think will do fine against Volo. Just be sure to play your cards right. Well, that wraps up these water-type best teams for every gen. Gyarados, as you guys can see, was pretty much the MVP, and on pretty much every team available. It's not surprising though, considering how early access you have to it and the amazing offensive prowess it has. Anywho though, what did you guys think of these water-type teams, and which one was your favorite? Would you change any of them? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. We're finally here in 2023, and I'm super excited for what this year has to offer us. There's potential DLC for Scarlet and Violet on the horizon, and who knows just what else Game Freak may have up their sleeves. It's gonna be really exciting times coming up for a Pokemon fan. If you're interested in more Mystic content, check out my TikTok and Mystic Umbreon Shorts YouTube channel. I've got a really fun series starting up there very soon, and of course, have a weekly edition of my Should You Use series focusing on Pokemon in Scarlet and Violet. Also, if you're into fanfictions and what ifs, check out Mystic Reads. I offer a ton of creative spoken word content on there, so come join me. Thanks again for joining me today, and I'll see you all next time.